Welcome to Cheating Tales and Drama. Before we dive into today's story, we have a humble request. Please consider subscribing to this new channel. Help us hit our first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Your support will motivate us to keep bringing you more exclusive original cheating wife stories. And now let's get started with today's story. Tuesday mornings in Richmond had a rhythm you could set your watch by. Mine always started with the same corner cafe, the same black coffee, and the same walk through the glass doors of Renshaw Mutual Insurance. My desk was a cluttered monument to routine. Stacks of active claim files, a chipped ceramic mug that said "World's Okayest Analyst," and the constant drone of fluorescent lighting overhead. I'd built my life on predictability. I'd never considered it a weakness. That morning started no differently. At 8:17 a.m., I just sat down, coffee steaming beside me, when Lorraine from the mailroom appeared at my cubicle with a padded envelope. "No return address," she said, dropping it onto my desk with a soft thud. "Guess it's your lucky day." It was the size of a paperback novel. Local postmark, no company logo, just my name typed neatly on a white label. Inside, between two squares of bubble wrap, was a plain black USB stick. No note, no markings. It felt ordinary in my hand. Light, cheap plastic. I turned it over, expecting maybe a label on the back. Nothing. My first thought was that it was work-related. Maybe an anonymous tip about one of the fraud cases I was handling. People sometimes sent physical evidence when they didn't want their name on record. I plugged it into my laptop. The drive contained one file. Playme.mp4. No hesitation, no extra clicks. Just a black screen for a second, then shaky handheld footage. It took me a moment to register the scene. A high-end hotel room, champagne in a silver bucket on the nightstand, rumpled designer sheets half off the bed. And in the center, a woman, her bare shoulder framed by a fall of blonde hair I knew better than my own reflection. Celia, my wife. She was laughing, her head tilted back, pulling a man toward her. He wasn't me. I knew that instantly. His frame was taller, his hair darker, his build bulkier. He bent to kiss her neck, and she grinned in a way she hadn't at me in months. The timestamp in the corner read, Saturday 11:42 p.m., just 3 nights ago. The same night she'd told me she was at Nia Granger's bachelorette party. The camera didn't flinch. It followed them as they stumbled toward the bed. Celia's hands roamed over him. He reached for the champagne. She pulled him back with a teasing smile. At the bottom of the screen, text appeared in white block letters. "You deserve to know." The clip ended abruptly. No fade out, no credits. Just the still image of Celia's face lit in warm lamplight, looking completely at ease. I didn't touch my coffee. I didn't hear Lorraine walking past again. I just sat there staring at the blank screen. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Evan Lark? The voice was male, mid-30s, with the kind of familiarity that nags at the edges of memory. "Yes. This is Theo Marsh, Jefferson High. You probably don't remember me. You stood up for me once in the cafeteria when those guys were giving me hell. I never forgot it." Bits and pieces came back. A quiet kid, always on the periphery. "I work security now," Theo continued. "I was covering the Granger bachelorette party on Saturday. Saw something you needed to see. You sent the footage. You helped me once," he said simply. "Now it's my turn." And he hung up. I sat motionless for a full minute before closing the laptop and walking straight out of the building. At 10:30 a.m., I was in an exam room at Dr. Martinez's clinic. I hadn't called Celia yet. I didn't want to fight over the phone. I wanted her in the room with me when the truth came out. When she arrived, hair smooth, makeup perfect, still in her tailored work dress, she looked confused. "What's going on? Are you sick?" "We're getting tested," I said. "Both of us. STDs. Today." The doctor's tone was gentle, but the words still landed like a blow. You've both tested positive for chlamydia. It's very treatable. Celia's reaction was immediate. What? That's impossible. We've been faithful for 8 years. I didn't respond. I watched her hands tremble as she clutched her purse tighter, her eyes flicking to me, then away. Sometimes these infections remain dormant, Dr. Martinez offered. The important thing is starting treatment. Yes, of course, Celia agreed quickly. We'll take care of it right away. The car ride home was silent. I kept my eyes on the road. She stared out her window. Our neighborhood looked the same as always. Brick facades, clipped hedges, a postcard version of success. When we pulled into the driveway, she finally spoke. Like the doctor said. These things happen, I cut in. She exhaled, almost relieved, and took my hand. I love you. I know. That night, after she fell asleep, I went to my home office. I opened our joint bank accounts, scrolling through months of transactions I'd ignored. Dinners on nights she claimed to be working late. New clothes I'd never seen. Ride shares to neighborhoods we had no reason to visit. My phone buzzed. No name. Check her work tablet. It was in the kitchen, plugged in beside the coffee maker. I tried our wedding anniversary. Denied. Her birthday. Wrong. Then I typed Adrian. The screen unlocked. WhatsApp was open to a group chat labeled Bad Girls Club. 4 names, Celia, Nia, and 2 others I recognized vaguely from social events. At first, the messages were harmless. Brunch plans, wine recommendations. Then the tone shifted. Evan's working late again. Adrian's right on time. Celia. Girl, you're playing with fire. What if he finds out? Nia, come on. Evan thinks I'm this sweet book club nerd. He's clueless. Celia. Farther down, Nia confessed. Marcus and I hooked up 3 weeks before the wedding. You're awful. Celia. Declan's walking into a trap. He's rich. That's what matters. Nia. Once I'm Mrs. Vaughn, I'm in charge. The cruelty was casual. The entitlement was unshakable. Then, told Evan I had a client dinner. Adrian and I are at the Jefferson till midnight. Celia. One of the women joked, "You're going to end up on a true crime doc." Only if Evan grows a backbone, Celia replied. Which is doubtful. I took screenshots of everything. 3 days ago, the night of the party. One last wild night before Nia becomes Mrs. Boring, Celia wrote, bringing Adrian. I read it 3 times before locking the tablet and putting it back exactly where it had been. Upstairs, Celia slept on her side, one arm across my pillow. In the dim light, she looked peaceful, innocent. I turned and walked back to my office. No yelling, no confrontation, just focus. I opened a blank document and started a list. Dates, transactions, lies. My phone buzzed again. Theo. There's more I can get you when you're ready. I typed back, soon. I didn't want a scene. I wanted a case. When this ended, it wouldn't be messy. It would be precise. The morning after I'd gone through Celia's work tablet, the air in our kitchen felt lighter. Or maybe that was just her mood. She was humming as she ground coffee beans, wearing leggings and one of my old college sweatshirts, like nothing in our world was cracked in half. Morning, babe, she said, sliding a mug toward me. What's on your docket today? Paperwork, I said without looking up from the Times Dispatch. Same old. She chatted about Naya's wedding prep, about the chaos of flower arrangements and seating charts. I nodded in the right places, smiled when appropriate, and filed away the fact that she was giving me her day's itinerary without me even asking. As soon as she left, I called Tommy Rodriguez. We'd worked together on fraud cases before. He knew my style, quiet, detail-obsessed, and allergic to mistakes. I need full surveillance, I told him. My wife, track her movements, capture everything. Tommy didn't ask why. Starting when? Today. We agreed on his rate, and I sent him the details. License plate, office address, Photo. Then I called Janet Mills. Janet was known for three things: immaculate suits, cutting cross-examinations, and walking her clients out of divorces with everything they wanted. "Janet, it's Evan Lark," I said when her assistant patched me through. "I need representation. High conflict divorce, infidelity, no kids." "Come in this afternoon," she said. "Bring everything you have." I spent the next hour printing screenshots, still frames from Theo's video, and copies of our bank statements. The pile on my desk looked less like the remnants of a marriage and more like evidence for a criminal trial. By 11 a.m., Tommy texted, "Your wife just pulled into a parking garage on Broad. Address matches Karn's apartment complex." "Photos," I replied. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Celia walking into the building with Adrian, her hand brushing his as they disappeared into the elevator. At 2 p.m., I sat in Janet's office while she flipped through the stack of evidence, her brow lifting slightly at certain pages. "This," she said, tapping the group chat screenshots, "is gold. The tone alone will sink her credibility in court. What's the strategy? Virginia's fault-based divorce laws are on your side. With this, she walks away with as little as I can make possible." "Good," I said. "I've already moved our joint funds to a protected account." Her smile was razor thin. "I like you, Evan. You think ahead." 2 days later, an unexpected opportunity dropped in my lap. I was at my desk when my office phone rang. "Mr. Lark, this is Marcus Chen from Cornerstone Transport. I hear you specialize in insurance investigations." "I do. How can I help?" "We have concerns about one of our senior analysts. Possible misuse of company assets, maybe harassment. We need quiet confirmation before proceeding." "What's his name?" "Adrian Carnes." I leaned back in my chair. "Not personally," I lied, "but I can look into it." That afternoon, I met Marcus in his office. He handed me a file on Adrian. Performance reviews, expense reports, complaints. "A coordinator says he promised her a promotion if she slept with him," Marcus said. "She's hesitant to go on record." "Any others?" "A second woman came forward yesterday. We think there may be more." "I'll need access to his office, his emails, and staff interviews." "You'll have it." The next day, I started the internal investigation. The pattern was easy to find once I knew where to look. Expense charges at restaurants nowhere near client addresses, rides to boutique hotels, gaps in his calendar that lined up perfectly with Celia's late nights. In a conference room, one employee, Sarah Kim, spoke candidly. He changed about 6 months ago, got smug, said he was seeing a married woman who treated him like royalty, showed me her picture once. I kept my face neutral. "Do you remember her name?" "Celia, I think. Pretty, blonde, dressed like she had money." That night I called Tommy. "I need more than surveillance. I want his financials. Credit cards, mortgage, anything you can pull." 2 evenings later, Tommy slid into a booth across from me at a quiet bar, dropping a manila folder on the table. "He's leveraged to hell," Tommy said. "Second mortgage on his house, close to $200,000 in credit card debt. And get this, most of his big charges line up with your wife's timeline." I flipped through the statements, each one another nail in the coffin. "Rebecca, no?" Tommy smirked. "Not yet." The next morning I called her. Rebecca Carnes answered on the second ring, her voice wary. "Hello? Mrs. Carnes, my name's Evan Lark. I think we should meet. It's about your husband." We met at a cafe in Mechanicsville. She looked tired but put together, the kind of exhaustion you see in someone balancing work, kids, and a crumbling marriage. "He's cheating on me, isn't he?" she said as soon as we sat down. "Yes," I said simply. "With my wife." Her eyes filled, but her voice was steady. "How long?" "Confirmed for 6 months, likely longer." I slid the photos across the table. Hotel lobbies, parking garages, street shots. She stared at them for a long time before speaking. "I found hotel receipts in his glove box last week. He said they were for client meetings." I didn't bother to hide my disbelief. She looked up at me. What do we do? We work together, I said. Adrian's already under investigation at work. You file for divorce now, you'll have leverage. Her grip on the photos tightened. I'm in. By the end of that week, the net was in place. I had surveillance, financial records, HR complaints, and a betrayed spouse as an ally. Celia still thought we were a normal couple, planning to attend Nia's wedding together. She had no idea that before she walked down any aisle as a maid of honor, her affair partner would be unemployed, her reputation gutted, and her safety net gone. And I had no intention of warning her. By Monday morning, I had enough in my file to sink Adrian Carnes from 3 directions: professionally, financially, and personally. The beauty was that none of it could be traced back to me without someone doing a level of digging Adrian had never been capable of in his life. At 10 a.m., I called Marcus Chen. I have my preliminary findings, I said. You're going to want to act fast. How bad is it? Bad enough that if this becomes public before you move, the company's going to look like it tolerated harassment and resource theft for years. That got me an immediate meeting. I walked into his office with a binder. Expense reports tied to personal outings, patterns of unexplained absences, and the HR complaints now corroborated by more than one employee. I didn't have to embellish. Adrian had done all the work himself. The last page was a still frame. Adrian with Celia, his hand low on her back, walking into the Jefferson Hotel. Marcus stared at it for a long moment. She's HR at Morrison Logistics, isn't she? Yes. If it gets out that one of our senior analysts was sleeping with an HR director from another company while mishandling his own subordinates. He stopped, rubbing his temples. All right, I'll take it from here. Make sure you lock him out of all systems immediately, I said. He's the type to burn the place down on his way out. By 4:30 p.m., Adrian was officially unemployed. Security walked him out in broad daylight, cardboard box in hand. Tommy was parked across the street, snapping photos as Adrian's face flushed with anger and humiliation. I forwarded the photos to Rebecca with a simple message. It started. The next morning, Celia's workday took a similar turn, though hers wasn't termination. At 10:15 a.m., a process server walked into Morrison Logistics, asked for her by name, and handed her the divorce papers in front of her staff. I'd timed it so Tommy could be there, camera ready. The photos were better than I'd hoped. Celia standing frozen, eyes wide, co-workers whispering in the background as she clutched the envelope like it might explode. An hour later, Tommy called. She's rattled. Phoned Adrian immediately. They're meeting for lunch. I had the foresight to bug Adrian's jacket a week earlier. At a small Italian place downtown, Tommy sat close enough to capture every word. This is bad, Celia was saying. The divorce paperwork spells it out. He knows about us. How much detail does he have? Adrian asked. I'm not sure. But the way he's acting, he's too calm. That's not like him. Maybe he's just in shock, Adrian offered. You don't get it, Celia said. Evan doesn't shut down. He plans. If he filed, he's already 10 steps ahead. So, what's our move? My attorney says I should stall, make it look like we're working things out. Buy time. Adrian laughed. Screw that. Maybe it's good this happened. No more hiding. We can be together out in the open. There was a pause. Then Celia's voice softened. Are you serious about us? About a future? Absolutely. Why would you doubt that? Because you're still married. If we're both going through divorces, we need to be honest about money. Don't worry, Adrian said smoothly. Rebecca doesn't know half of what I've got. Offshore accounts, crypto, some untraceable cash. Been setting it up for months. I smiled when I heard that part. Rebecca already knew he was broke. That lie was going to collapse just as hard as everything else. While they were still eating, I got a call I wasn't expecting. From Nia Granger. I know you have something from the bachelorette party. she said without preamble. I'll pay you to keep it quiet. What makes you think I'd want your money? Because your fight is with Celia, not me. You don't need to blow up my life, too. What's the big day? I asked. This Saturday. Declan's family is flying in. 200 guests. Venue alone cost 40 grand. That's a lot to lose. Exactly. So what's your price? I leaned back in my chair. Cancel the wedding. Tell Declan the truth. If you do that, I'll keep the footage private. She laughed, sharp and nervous. You're insane. Or, I said, I hand him a USB an hour before the ceremony. Your choice. 3 days later, I got a text. I told Declan about Marcus. The wedding's off. Happy now? Proud of you for being honest, I replied. Her final message dripped venom. Screw your pride. I hope you and Celia burn together. I didn't bother responding. Declan deserved better, and now he'd get it. By Thursday, the fallout was everywhere. Rebecca had filed for divorce. Adrian's credit cards were frozen. His car had been repossessed. Celia was dodging his calls. The beauty of it all was how quietly it happened. No screaming matches, no public blowouts, just a series of doors closing behind them until there was nowhere left to go. By Friday morning, I didn't need to check in with Tommy to know Adrian was unraveling. It was all over the grapevine. Former co-workers whispering about drunken rants in bars, neighbors mentioning strange late-night shouting from his apartment. Rebecca telling me he'd left her 3 voicemails that veered from begging to threats. At 7:14 a.m., my phone rang. It was Detective Maria Santos from Richmond PD. We've got Adrian Carnes in custody, she said. Burglary, theft, identity fraud, threats. He broke into his ex-wife's house last night, took electronics, jewelry, tried to use your wife's credit card. The charges are serious. He'll be off the street for a long time. How long are we talking? I asked. With the credit card fraud, we're looking at federal involvement. Years I thanked her and hung up, already thinking about how this would land with Celia. She was sitting on the edge of the hotel bed when I got back from my morning run, coffee in hand, wearing the robe she'd grabbed from the closet. We hadn't shared a house since the process server walked into her office, but I'd let her stay here for the last couple of nights after Adrian showed up at her work. They arrested him, I said simply. She looked up, relief flashing in her eyes. Seriously? Burglary, theft, fraud, threats. He's done. She sank back against the headboard, exhaling like she'd been holding her breath for days. So, it's really over. The legal part with him, yes. The divorce between us is still pending. Her gaze lingered on me, softer than it had been in months. I know this sounds ridiculous, but a part of me wishes we could rewind. Before all of this. We can't, I said. And even if we could, I wouldn't. Because you hate me. Number? Because I don't trust you. And without that, there's nothing worth rebuilding. She looked down, tears welling. I get it. I hope you know I see it now. How selfish I was. How much I threw away. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to salvage here, and we both knew it. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Janet's work, coupled with Virginia's infidelity statutes, left Celia with almost nothing. Her car, her clothes, and a modest savings account. The house was mine outright. The joint accounts were emptied long before she could touch them. Adrian was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. Rebecca sold the house to wipe out his debt and moved to North Carolina with their kids. She sent me a Christmas card with a simple line. Thank you for helping me escape. Nia left Richmond. Last I heard, she was in Charlotte selling real estate, dating someone who probably didn't know the full story. Declan sent me a bottle of single malt with a note. You saved my life. Call me if you ever need anything. 6 months after the final decree, I stood outside Richmond International Airport with a carry-on and a one-way ticket to Denver. A new job awaited. Better pay, bigger cases, no one who knew my history. Just before boarding, my phone buzzed. A text from an unlisted number I still recognized instantly. I heard you're leaving. Good for you. I hope you find peace. I'm sorry, I read it once. Deleted it. Some stories didn't deserve sequels. As the plane lifted off, Richmond spread beneath me. Neat streets, calm rivers, nothing to betray the mess that had unraveled inside its houses. But I knew better. Darkness didn't belong to places. It lived in people. And when it came for you, what you did next defined you. Some people fell apart. Some lashed out blindly. And some, like me, waited, planned, then hit back so cleanly that when it was over, they walked away without a single piece of the wreckage clinging to them. Ahead, the Rockies cut sharp against the horizon. I opened my laptop and started searching for mountain homes with yards big enough for the dog I'd always wanted. A German shepherd, loyal, intelligent, protective. Everything my ex-wife wasn't. I smiled for the first time in a long while. The past was behind me. The war was over, and I'd won.